So hello everyone, and apologies for not uploading that much again for a moment in time being. I was thinking about doing this video for a little bit of a time here. I'm going to be. This is not going to be a happy little video, really. This is going to be about subjects that is or has been bothering or having a lot of stress or adding a lot of stress in my life in the recent years. So, if you have a stressful life or anything of a like, then don't listen to this. It's just like I don't want to be putting my problems on anyone's shoulders or anything of a like. But as such, this is one of the reasons or one of the big reasons when I don't really necessarily feel like I can or I can't keep up with the uploading new videos, even though I would really want to, but I still haven't been able to, which is really a shame. But this is really just something that I don't know. I feel I kind of do like to be sharing it with those who want to be listening to. But as said, just wanted to be making sure that you don't need to be listening if you don't want to. So, my mother has been diagnosed with the Parkinson's disease. It is obviously enough a horrible disease that mostly you are possibly can get when you get older. The most significant changes is of course in how well you can move and in the physical things, but that is not actually the biggest problem. This all, like, my mother had the first incident around 1 year before I ever started recording into YouTube anything videos, and it was a very, very harsh time. It's just something that, of course, when Parkinson's disease is also something that doesn't cure, it's just going to be there and it's going to be repeating and repeating and repeating these events at sometimes different times. It's just very frustrating. And as said, the physical problems are bad. My mother pays mostly attention to these physical problems that she has, obviously are enough, but those are not the biggest issue. The biggest issue comes from the fact that what medications she has to use to be able to move and be physically active. These medications, as they are kind of mind altering, they can make a person see, hear, smell things that aren't actually there. And no one wants to think of them as themselves as crazy. No one wants to do that. If you hear, see, smell something weird, you are starting to lose objects, things that are precious to you, so to speak. You are going to make some reasonable explanation why this is happening. Why are these things going missing? Why is there this smell? Why is there a flashing light there? Why am I hearing noises from there? And just, there's no way for me to convince her of anything that it wouldn't have happened or anything of like, because it is true for her. It is true. Even if in reality those things haven't happened, but it is still true for her, and it's really problematical to be dealing with, specifically because you have to be making sense of these things. It wouldn't be as big of a problem if you would just be seeing abnormal lights. But if you associate it with something like, oh, there are some people there flashing lights that are criminal activity and things like that, then it starts to get problematical, because she is making explanations. Why is there this light? Why is there something like this happening? And it's just so horrible to deal with. I am so tired of listening to those different things also. But yeah, as said previously, the first situation that we had was around 1 year before I started recording. She had gone into such a bad state that she called police herself because she was so paranoid at that point. It was a problem that the doctor, even though it was known that she had Parkinson's disease, and doctors should be able to know what Parkinson's disease medications can do, this doctor didn't actually pay enough attention to what mom had been telling them. And that meant that it just went worse and worse and worse. And I had been busy also in my life, so I hadn't been able to pay attention to it. So it went very bad. It started with small things, just something's going missing, just little things going missing, that where are those things and so on. But then it started to go deeper and deeper. Specifically, this affects my father the most, which just makes me so very sad, because if you think that items are going missing from your building, you first try to be looking how it could be possible. And if they are constantly going missing, certainly the person you're living with has something to do with this. It's a logical thought, obviously enough. How could it otherwise go just missing unless there would be someone else in the household involved? So she started making the ideas that my father was blackmailed. My father was somehow involved in criminal activity, maybe using drugs. She, so to speak, found drugs at some point, even though my father would have nothing to do with something like that. Or that he would be otherwise in just like many different claims, many different claims, like that he would be involved with or being with other women, which is also impossible if you consider how she was being claiming this. That she smelled a perfume coming through the garage all the way to completely fill the house, which is impossible. No perfume would do that. There would be no way to do that. It's completely illogical, but why does she smell that perfume there then? It has to be possible. There's no logical reasoning there. So that is the worst case, because I have to be seeing how it all, or what all accusations my father has to be going through because of this. And I wish there would be something more I could do. But there's really very little that I can do, unless, well, as long as mother is staying at home, there's not really a lot we can do. Especially with the things that have already been seen. She has already made the assumptions that she has. But those are the worst things. I don't live back home. It usually, I don't know what she sees or thinks right when I'm there visiting, but generally she thinks that I'm around, so there's less likely to happen something bad. But one time that I was visiting there happened to be something kind of incredible to me that she came up with. It was like, it's horrible to hear as an idea even. The idea was that It's just kind of difficult to be putting into words, even sometimes at least. But it was approximately like I was leaving from home. I had been staying just a few days because, well, for obvious reasons, I don't really enjoy staying back home that much. Specifically, at the moment, it has been better again, but especially at times, it's very, very, very just tiring to listen to some of those thoughts and things. I've tried to be getting her to speak less of those things at least, so that I don't want to listen to them, which she is trying to not to bother me as much about. She really would need to be talking to someone completely different. But at this time, as I was trying to be starting to tell the story, this one time when I was then leaving from home back to my place, the next day, my mother called me, and she sounded very disturbed. I was a little bit wondering that why did she sound like that, and she kind of somberly then kind of asked me that had I been raped. When your mother asks you that, I first was like, what, where, when, what are you talking about? Like, I had no idea what she was referring to. Only when time passed a little bit on the phone call, it became clear that she meant that I had left in such a hurry and there was some liquid in the bathroom floor that I didn't see, so I assumed that it doesn't really exist or isn't really there because I didn't see anything when I left, but there was some liquid. So she had made the assumption that I had been raped in my home there when she and Dad were both sleeping, somehow in the bathroom, which is completely ridiculous idea. Specifically, who would be even doing it? The only options would have been that it would have been my father, or my father would have let some criminals inside who would have then done it. But seriously, it was just like, no, nothing like that has ever happened and would ever happen. But it's just so horrible to even like hear then when I say no very clearly, that the doubt in my mother's voice when she says that, I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe you. And there's nothing more I can really say that, like, I wouldn't be lying if this would really have happened. That is kind of a personal story, but as such, at least, I don't know. Maybe I can ask you also, what have you been encountering Parkinson's disease or something otherwise, having to be dealing with some other horrible disease? How are you dealing with it? Because I have problems with dealing with this, at least. As in, as stated, I wish I could do something more. But the reality is that there's not too much that I can do. It's just very difficult to be dealing with it. There's just, as said, just very difficult to deal with. It's very. My mother is innocent of the accusations she's making. She is seeing, hearing things that don't exist. And as said, one will be making conclusions about those things. One will have to be making those because reality has to be making sense, for one. It cannot be nonsensical. But my father is even more innocent, I would say, because even though they haven't had a perfect marriage, for sure, there have been a lot of problems when I was growing up. But No one deserves to be accused of cheating and being in criminal activity using drugs when they have nothing of a like that they have done. But what can I really do to give my support? My father is also, I haven't ever talked huge amount with him. It's a problematical situation for me because I just want him to know that I support him. I know that he knows, at least to some extent. Because I have very clearly been trying to be helping him deal with the situation and just like make sure that he knows that he has to be making sure that he can deal with mom's situation. If he cannot, then mom can't be living back home. But if this happens, then father would be living completely alone back at the house, which is also something that I don't know if he's going to be very happy doing that either. So there's not really a perfect option, I wouldn't think. As said, I just wish I could do something more, but it's just a horrible disease and a horrible situation, and when your parents are getting older, it's just, especially considering that I am the youngest child, I have to be dealing with this before my brother and sister have to. And my sister lives further away and my brother isn't as involved, so I guess I kind of just carry the most responsibility of the situation. I kind of feel that I should do something more. The problem is that whatever the something more would be, at some point it would be that I should be doing something more and more and more, because I don't think that anything would be enough. But yeah, just like, it's kind of nice for you guys to be able to know nonetheless what problems I'm going through with my life. Especially, this is the biggest problem, as in dealing with this sort of a situation, because it's very stressful and tiring nonetheless. And when I don't have a lot of videos to put up, or I'm more slow to put them up, this is, for example, one of the reasons sometimes when I'm in contact with my parents or along those lines. It's just that of course any advice is welcome, or anything really, but yeah. And if you ever get into that sort of a situation, of course it might be nice to know what some medications could be doing, because medication is the biggest problem. Medication has to be kept in the optimal point where mother can be moving as well as possible, but so that there wouldn't be too many things that she would see and hear and everything that wouldn't be real. The biggest problem is not even the visions, but the fact that she is making then assumptions from these visions, very strong assumptions against, and which all have something to do with my father. If it only would be that she would be thinking about that someone else would be taking these things, that wouldn't be as big of a problem. But when she's including my father into these ideas, then that is a problem. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't want to be telling about necessarily more about some more things. I just wanted to talk about the situation I'm going through with maybe if you have any advice or have been going through with any sort of similar situations. How have you been able to deal with these kind of things, or problems where you think that you should be able to do something more for a person when you know that there's not too much that you can do more, no matter how much you would want to? But yeah, thank you for all listening, and and just like wordless or speechless. It's very difficult, just as said previously, it's very difficult. This any sort of medical conditions are difficult, and especially when they are, well, I don't know, they are different sort of problems. If they are completely only physical, doesn't make them any less bad, but still mental problems are also really, really horrible. But yeah, thank you for all the support that you possibly would give, and thank you for listening. And I don't know, should I have been making the video about this, but I assume it's okay, especially when I say in the start that if you don't want to listen, then don't take more stress for yourself from this, as I generally do wish to be keeping this channel about just having fun with games and so on. But as such, I guess it shouldn't be the biggest problem of you guys knowing what is going on with my life too. But opinions about that as well, about should I have not rather shared this at all? Would it have been better? I don't know. I really don't know. I had problems thinking, should I record this or not? But I hope you guys didn't mind. So yeah, again, thank you for listening, and any comments are welcome. Thank you. See ya.